Welcome, everybody. It is March 3rd. Let's go and close our eyes. Just take a long breath in and a slow breath out. Take a deep breath in and a relaxed breath out. Just breathe. As your breath enters and exits, see if you can slow down the mind just a little bit. Feeling your body soften to the chair. Feel your shoulders relax. Your fingertips curl. And your breath deepen. Inhale and exhale. Bringing all of your awareness to your breath. Spending a moment, bringing in your guides, your divine support team, your angels, your ancestors. Even if you don't know how to do that, I've never done it, don't worry about it. Just think of all of the energies of love coming in. Support and to love you. As you breathe. Soften your forehead. Soften your shoulders. And noticing as the mind gets a little quieter. Your eyelids sink in more. Now for the last part of this meditation, see if you can start to imagine, sense, witness, or feel the billions of oxygen molecules that you consumed since the time you woke up this morning. Now think of the trillion of carbon dioxide molecules that you've released since you woke up. With every inhale, feel and sense all of the beautiful air around you. And every exhale, soften your shoulders down. Now when you're ready, start to bring awareness back into the room, back into this moment. Opening your eyes when you're ready. Good morning. It's so great to see everybody. So great to see your faces. So again, if you're newer to this format, I'll teach for about 20 minutes, half an hour. I'm not sure. Go to Q&A. I do have a hard stop at 12. I've got a team call at 12. So I did prep a presentation for this, a really short one, don't worry. A short PowerPoint on the lie of lack. That's what we're going to be teaching today. So we just pull that up, 20 seconds. 1 second. Is this it? I think it is. 1 second. So let's see. Yep, this is it, the lie of lack. You guys can see that, right? Okay. So this is today's school call is more about what's called the lie of lack, which is a fundamental teaching from A Course in Miracles, but a fundamental tool that I hope you can grab even just like one little particle of today. It can be life-changing when you get this. Okay. So what does the lie of lack mean? The lie of lack is simply the belief that you are deficient in some way. You're deprived, you're lacking something. And it's thought to be the core illusion that the ego keeps alive. And it keeps in separation and in fear. And the core teaches us that the true reality is abundance, and the perception of lack is a false belief. So it's a belief that you're deficient or deprived. And one thing you'll want to understand, because I know there's a lot of people on the call who've known me for a long time. In the last few years, my teaching has really shifted very strongly into Course in Miracles. So if you've been hanging out in my kind of like world for a number of years and you're hearing the teachings a bit different, that's all it is. Okay. And to really understand that the Course teaches us that it's impossible for us to be lack because it's a belief that you're separate. Let's go a bit deeper in. So what, for a moment, just pause for a minute. And let's use a chat box. What do you perceive you're lacking? And I gave you 3 choices. And just use the chat box. What do you perceive you're lacking? You can write all 3. More health, more relationships, more money. What would you put down? If you're talking to somebody and they said, what are you lacking? Use the chat box. What do you perceive that you are lacking? I'll give you guys a second. What you guys wrote down. I perceive I'm lacking money. I've got 3 monies for the agenda. Okay, cool. We got money, money, money. We got relationships. Thanks, Louise. Need something different. Louise. Okay, good. Great check. Relationships. Amazing. What else do you guys got written down here? Money and relationships. You can write 2 if you want. Focus. Thanks, Belle. Thanks, Bay. Amazing. Something a bit different. Money, relationships, and money. Health. Beautiful. Okay, amazing. So the Course teaches us that that's impossible from the law of lack. Mobility. Beautiful, Marilee. So health, money at times, money, relationships, and health. Beautiful, Troy. Amazing. Amazing. Okay, let's go back into the slides. So the origin of this concept, I don't know what to hear. The origin of this lack is this idea of separation. The origin is in separation. And the idea that you are not lacking in some way is hard for us to imagine. And the origin is the idea that you need something outside of you to feel complete. Okay. So from the time you're little and you come on the planet, you're told, you turn on the TV, you're told you have to have a BFF. When you get to grade school, you better have a BFF that's going to be your BFF until you're in university. Oh, you're lacking, you didn't get that. Oh, you're lacking because you didn't get the partner. I taught a workshop here in the city yesterday about being single. So obviously they had a lack of feeling they had partnership. And I was getting their egos to share with me, what do they feel is going on? You sure heard this stuff. I'm seeing if anyone was there yesterday. I don't think so. Heard this stuff. It was everything from like, well, all the men are taken. I missed my best person came and went. I missed them 10 years ago. Like there was all this conversation, right? There's something wrong with me. I'm overweight. No one's going to want to be with me. I'm that. Like there's like, you fill in the blanks, right? So what you want to understand is the ego will create a massive, massive, massive story to keep the lack alive. Like a billion thoughts to keep the lack alive. Again, when we come onto the planet, we are told from the get-go. I know I was told, you're lacking because you're brown. There were reasons I was lacking. I was brown, I was a girl. But I was also taught life would get better when you get your degree. Anyone else can relate to that? When you finish university, life's going to get better. Great. And then you're taught it's going to get better when you get married. Can you relate to that one? Great. Then you're taught it's going to get better when you have kids, right? So we're taught, tick the box, tick the box, tick the box, tick the box. And for those who are older, have done the marriage, have done the kids, did we get more complete? No. Make sense? And the fun thing about yesterday's workshop is there were 3 of us who were actually in relationship, even though it was for single people. We looked at them going, you're not necessarily going to be happier in a relationship, trust me. And and that was the funny thing there, because everyone was like, I need a relationship, I need a relationship, I really need a relationship. And it so happened that yesterday's class had 3 people in relationships, including myself. And we look at them like, you think it's going to complete you? Right? And that was, but there's no difference when it comes to money or health. So somewhere in here, whether you put in money, relationships, health, time, somewhere in your psyche, you were taught you were lacking. Got it? And that's what we want to undo. That's what you want to undo. So no matter what the effect is, you want to start to undo it because it's a thought. All right. So what I write, the origin is the origin of separation. That origin of the thought we are lacking in some ways. And we need something outside of ourselves to complete ourselves. Hence Hollywood, Bollywood, Richard Gere's at fault. Like he's taught me that no one can live up to him, right? I am screwed. All right. So the manifestation occurs as insecurity, a need for validation, a need for approval, a need for love, a need for money. Fill in the blanks for other stuff here. That's where people pleasing comes in. That's where looking for people to like me comes in. That's where looking for how many likes occur on my social media post comes in. So we're just seeing how deep that manifestation occurs. Is like, if you run into a friend and she forgets to wave at you, you're like, oh, something's wrong. The lie of lack. You post something and no one ticks like, oh, something's wrong. I did it bad. The lie of lack. And then we watch these TV shows and we have this vision of they have their life complete. Make sense? That's what TV teaches us. When I watch that show, I feel whole. If I could be that actor, if I could be that actress, then I would feel better. Because what do they put on TV? This person has money. That person's beautiful. That person's wealthy. That person has a hot body. Like it's the lie of lack. Hollywood knows it. They knows what sells. So does Bollywood. They know what sells. Got it? And we're not blaming them, but we have to take ownership that we've believed it. We've eaten it. We've breathed it. We've lived it. Got it? So the lie of lack perpetuates the lie of lack. So that's how it shows up, the manifestation. And then take it one step further. The truth, though, is you are born of love. You're born of a divine essence of love. And that's the opposite of the lie of lack. Now we're going to talk about the 3 treatments. And when I was prepping the slides, I ran out of time, so I didn't get to make a big slide for each of these. So we're just going to talk about it. So there's 3 big slides here. So there's 3 antidotes to the lie of lack: forgiveness, gratitude, and acceptance of the Holy Spirit. I'm going to go through each of these. Okay. So we're going to do the acceptance of the Holy Spirit first. And if I had more time, I would have put more details to each, but that's fine. We got me to talk, so it's fine. So Holy Spirit acceptance. I want to give you an example. So yesterday at workshop, there was a gentleman there, so cute. And he had this, we were doing the victim triangle around relationships. That was part of the class. And so turns out there were 2 men in the workshop, and they both held the hero. And a lot of men and women, they want to be a hero in the relationship. They were the heroes when it comes to money. They were going to fix the woman's problems and so on and so forth. And so when I was working with him, this is going to be I'm trying to explain the Holy Spirit in a second. I was working with him in the group. His grandfather kept coming in. I was like, your grandfather on your mom's side. Kept saying it over and over again. And then near the end of the workshop, he shared with me that his grandfather on his mom's side was a World War II vet. And he was a hero because he landed the plane during the war. Or I don't know, and saved people. I don't know the whole story. And he didn't realize that he had taken on the hero. How does that have to do with the Holy Spirit? His soul chose to come in to this mother, father, grandfather role. And up until yesterday, that hero complex was running his relationships, was running his business, it was running his job, and he had no idea. And it was creating a lot of pain. So acceptance of the Holy Spirit means accept your point in life. Blame your mother, blame your grandfather, blame your partner. You're not going to get anywhere. Accepting Holy Spirit is accepting every decision you've made till now and accepting that Holy Spirit has landed you wherever you are. X marks the spot. And X is not wrong. Just like when you're on a hiking trail and you see X, you're seeing like X, you're here, you have to get there. X is not wrong. And what's really tough for us is that we look at our faces, we're like, yeah, but I'm 60 years old. I got to figure this out by now. You're 6,000 years old. Your soul life, your soul journey, your soul journey. Like yesterday's workshop, there was a 30-year-old. It was really cute. He was 30. It was a different guy. And he goes, and he reflected at the end of the workshop. He goes, I can't believe it's taken me 30 years to figure this out. And then there were all these older people on this other side of the room. We look over and we're like, you're 30. The fact that you understood half of this workshop is huge. Like, are you 30? And we just like gave him shit, right? And he just like was like, okay, because we had like a whole bunch of 30-year-olds and a whole bunch of 60-year-olds. It was like a big age group, 70-year-olds in the room. It was wild. And it was like, and he was just like, he had to take that with a chunk of salt. He's like, I can't believe my hero's running for 30 years. So I'm like, dude, the fact that you even understood 50% of the workshop I just taught you is massive. So please don't sit here going, Holy Spirit, X marks the spot. I'm 65. I still haven't figured it out. That's the ego. Every step along the way, is a divine orchestration and manifestation. And it's all about us taking us each individually back to love. Their journey of love and love only is where we're heading. And that journey back to love is what we're working on. But when we beat ourselves up or judge ourselves or say something is wrong, we're not on the journey to love. So working with Holy Spirit is accepting where you are. It's also asking Holy Spirit, creating a communication link between you and your spirit, learning to trust your intuition, and learning to work with Holy Spirit to help you through life. The other way to work with Holy Spirit is by seeing Holy Spirit in everybody. So my biggest work is seeing the Holy Spirit in my partner. It's easy to see the Holy Spirit in my clients, the clients who I work with. So easy. Much harder, much more work to do Holy Spirit with my partner. Does that make sense? So that's how you work with the Holy Spirit, is to bring them into your life every second and not see you alone on the planet. The second way, so that's one antidote to the lie of lack. Second, because when you work with the Holy Spirit, you'll know that there's billions of different energies and guides that are here to help you and support you, that you're not alone. Second antidote to the lie of lack is gratitude. How grateful am I to be alive? How grateful am I to be able to breathe? How grateful am I to have a home? How grateful am I to breathe in 1 billion air molecules? How grateful am I to be on the planet right now? I'm undoing the lie of lack. And then the last antidote for the lie of lack is forgiveness. Forgiveness is undoing a thought. And I did a whole 30-day challenge on forgiveness in Skool. It's in the classroom section. All 30 days are in there. It's forgiving the thought. So a lot of you guys wrote in a lack of money. So do these. The thing is, the universe is actually trying to send you money, but you have to be in alignment for it. So let's just say you run a business like I do, and you perceive lack. Let's just say in your bank account or in the clients coming in. There's an expression in the work I do that you can only lack what you're not giving. So I do a lot of stuff for free. I have a social account. I do stuff on YouTube. I do this, like Skool community. Giving is proof of having. That's from a course. Got it? So if I give, I'm telling myself I've got it. Because so think about those of us who are moms in the room, right? We give so much love to our kids. Why? Because we know on some level that we have an infinite source of love. Is that fair, moms and dads? Right? I give so much love, so much love, so much love because I don't doubt the lack of love. I don't doubt, and dads, I'm sure you guys feel exactly the same way. I have no doubt that you love your kids and grandkids to the moon and back, because you don't think that train of love is going to end. You're not like, one day I'm going to hate my kids. There's not going to be love. There's no difference when it comes to money or clients. Does that make sense? It's that you perceive it's outside of you, but they're not outside of you. They are your reflection. Got it? Money can only lack if you're not giving it, or you have a perception of lack in yourself, or you're constantly in the fear mentality. So, and because our society so runs on money, we forget that money is just an exchange. It's just a form of exchange. That's it. That's it. So forgiving the thoughts that I could be lacking in any ways is another way to undo the lie of lack. But the lie of lack, I use forgiveness the most, but gratitude is a big one, and working with the Holy Spirit is the other one. So the mindset guys are saying time out, because I could spend a whole hour talking about that forgiveness, but I'm not going to, just because I've got that whole video series. But I am going to open up to Q&A and coaching to see what's coming up for you guys. And if not a lot, then I can go back to teaching. So I'll give you guys a few minutes. What's coming up for you guys when it comes to coaching? Because my guys are saying they've got a lot of questions today, so I will trust them. So all you do is you go down below, hit the react button, throw your hand up, and they'll grab you. And if there's not a lot of questions, I'll go back to teaching. I'll give you guys a minute. All right. No hand. Okay, great. Lilani first. And then I'll do, oh no, we're going to coach now, honey. We're going to coach now, Nina. So throw your hand up, Nina. I'm really good to grab you. Lilani, let's start with you.
All right, let's just explore this in practical application.
I'm good with that. Yes, let's do practical.
Um, yeah, just this. I don't identify with the, or rather, I should say, I have been consciously working towards identifying the thoughts that of fear that used to dictate me in my relationship with funds. Um, I don't feel like that's a dominant energy with my relationship with funds at the moment. Um, and um, I also know like where I see myself, and I know where, and I see the gap of where I see myself and where I am now. So, how do I shift that? Am I attached to the gap? Like, yeah. I don't even really, yeah. I'll stop.
Okay. So and sorry, you kept saying. I heard you twice. Said you said it twice. You said. Sorry, I'm trying to get the right words out. Um, or are you referring to clients or partnerships?
And this way would be clients.
Okay, so I thought more work.
Yep.
So I
Yeah, yep.
thought to make. I just want to be sure before I jump in.
Yep.
So
Thanks.
you see yourself now, and you see what your guides are showing you is coming.
Right.
Sure. The key is to stay in the now. That's the
Yeah.
name. And this is where trusting the Holy Spirit. Asking your Holy Spirit, like, so I've started teaching more. School, all the stuff is Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Is like the next step, the next step, the next step. Does that make sense? But when
Hmm.
we look way up here, the ego is always going to say you're lacking.
Hmm.
Does that make sense? You're not
Totally.
there yet, whatever there is.
Right.
That thought will always tell you you're not there yet. Are you with me?
Yep.
So it's a little black hole that I think a lot of coaches and stuff can get into,
Mm.
but it stops us from seeing what we have now and just taking small little steps towards whatever this is, but not holding this as the end result, but holding
Okay.
now as the end result.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Like if you ever told me 4 years ago that I do a ton of relationship coaching, I'd go away. Right. But it's one small step after another small step after. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Here you go. How does that feel?
Beautiful. Thank you.
And honestly, if I just said it another way, don't look in the future. Stop looking in the future,
Hmm.
in the now, and just the next small step, which
Okay.
isn't towards the future because time doesn't exist.
Right.
And then just, yeah. And they're like, she
Mm.
gets it.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Cool.
Lynn. Well
Thanks,
done.
sweetie. Appreciate it.
Hey, Tina.
Okay, so no, I'm not sure. Can we ask anything? Is that here?
Sure. I
Okay.
guess so. Oh,
So, what's happening for me is, and it's been going now for, I would say about 2 years, but it's really kind of exploded in a lot of pain, is the tailbone.
okay.
And what I've been to a pelvic floor specialist, and what the thought is that there's a muscle that's taking over from instead of the pelvic floor being strong enough, another muscle's taking over and pulling on the tailbone, causing me a lot of pain. So, um, so I'm working in the physical aspect so that I can walk pain free. And I'm just kind of wondering spiritually if where to go so I go deeper with this. I'm not too sure just where to go because my sleep's way off again. Like just between the two, I can't seem to get on track there either. So, yeah.
It's safety. It's a safety. And how I connect it to the live lack is this thought perpetuation that you're not safe, which started when you were 11 years old.
Yeah. Being in the hospital, yeah. Um, How do you, like,
It's like I keep seeing all of your hip muscles, your psoas, the ones that connect to the hip girdle, all
yeah,
the muscles contracting like this.
okay,
So the antidote to that is forgiveness.
okay,
And it's seeing the 11-year-old as safe and seeing yourself as safe. And doing some progressive relaxation meditations where you start at your head and work your way all the way down to your toes.
okay.
In this moment, you are safe and relaxed. And now.
So basically, because I asked the divine as well today while I was walking home, and I was told you need to meditate, period. That was the only word I got, meditate. And I just don't do that for some reason. I mean, I have in the past a lot, but for some reason in the last few years, it's been like, no. And I get, sometimes I do it. Well, if I'll here, get a pillow, sit in the floor, and meditate. So I do that. It's okay,
There's resistance. Does that resonate?
stillness. You know, the only time I slept, like where it was for a year when I went to school. And I did this head to toe meditation every night, and I slept every night. And I was acing my exams.
How's that?
I've been told. So if they do the forgiveness, so it really is just the safety. Like that accident I have just doesn't feel fair. You know, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like I do so much work, I've done so much that's, and then it's just like it's still I'm safe. Yeah.
From what I know about you, Tina, it's almost like your dominant shadow. I'm not
Yeah.
safe with my brother. I'm not safe with men. I'm not safe in the hospital. Do you see it? Everyone has a dominant shadow, like a dominant thing they're here to heal in their life.
Okay.
Only like people ask me, well, what's mine? It's only something you can figure out in retrospect. When you're a bit older, you can look back and go, oh yeah. Yeah, okay, got it. That's my main one.
Okay. Well, it makes sense because the sleeping is just, I worked with a divine mother and then it stopped working. I got 5 days. It was such a relief to sleep for 5 hours. I mean, it was just so wonderful, right? Um, and then I'm back in the same thing again. So, okay.
Love that, Tina.
All right. Now, when I use the forgiveness prayer, it's just to forgive me for not feeling safe.
Forgive me for, yeah, exactly. Forgive me for not feeling safe. Forgive me for forgetting you're there.
Okay. So it sounds like this really is something that I need to be doing ongoing every day until I can start to shift some of the.
And I would ask myself what the resistance to meditation is.
Okay. Well, then I wouldn't have anything to clear
Fix.
to complain about.
Damn. And I have to give up the victim triangle divvy.
Yeah. Yeah. Give up the victim triangle, which keeps me in my dominant shadow.
And we were just teaching that in the last class, which is why I'm saying,
Yeah.
Tina.
Okay.
Thanks, Tina.
Always goes back to that stuff. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Hey, Troy.
Hello. It's funny we're talking to the lie of lack now. I think maybe like 3 or 4 days ago, I woke up and my back was spasming, which is not that common at all. And so it's getting a little bit better, but my back is sore. And then I can also feel it down my left side, like down my left hamstring and kind of down by my knee/calf.
Okay. And you're right-handed, right? So
I'm right-handed.
what do you sense it is?
I don't know. That's probably my feminine side.
The word they're giving me is gripping. So what are you gripping?
Gripping. Well, there's some paperwork that I've had to do that I'm kind of building up the energy and the focus to do, and it's been a struggle for me. What else am I gripping? Yeah, I think with work, I'm just kind of pushing and driving still, almost like I can't help it.
So it's almost like the feminine side is saying, can you relax? And then there's some picture of like, when you put your bum against the wall, you do legs up the wall, that yoga posture, bum against the wall, legs up.
Hmm.
Because that's a great way to just like settle the nervous system and relax.
Mm.
How is that feeling for you?
Willing to try that.
Yeah. And then just doing some forgiveness work around why I'm gripping so much.
And when you mean gripping, what do you mean by that?
That's the word they keep giving me, like gripping with work or gripping that has to be a certain way or.
Hmm. Okay.
How does that feel?
It feels okay. I mean, one of the things that, I mean, perhaps it's I'm beating myself up about it not accomplishing as much as I would like to. Like oftentimes I'll have a list of all these things I want to do, and then I get through, I don't know, half of it or quarter of it or something like that.
Yeah.
And something happens that feels like that derails what I was trying to accomplish.
Totally. And so what if it's just about you stepping back a bit and not analyzing and judging and trying to figure it all out, just breathing a bit, breathing a bit, breathing a bit.
Okay.
How's that
The
feel?
other thing is it feels like I've been feeling more tired in recent-ish times.
If I connected this with what we were just talking about, can you see that constant go, go, go will make us tired?
Yeah.
I just said the word reboot. It's like you want an energy reboot where you can relax,
Mm.
be still, and be still. Nothing to fix, just stillness. Because the lie of lack is true and that you have everything you need. Why are we gripping? How's that feeling, Troy?
I can play with that.
Yeah, it's a journey. It's a long, lifelong journey. One. Thanks, Troy.
Okay, thanks.
Hey, Jody. It's great to see you. Oh, you're muted, Jody. You're muted.
Thank you. Good to see you too. So I put my hand up with a specific comment, but then since then it's grown into a little bit of something else. So what I initially wanted to contribute, I guess, or ask about is just how fast mindful attention to, say, forgiveness um, is so quickly can flip back into ego with they don't deserve to be forgiven. What they did was awful. And and but I'm really living in gratitude a lot, like, and it's wonderful. But I'm realizing as you put your phone behind your head, of what I'm not seeing is forgiveness with my ex. And so I can make him wrong at the drop of a hat. I mean, I did the forgiveness month with you. I think I made it for every day.
Amazing.
So it's not that I don't know, but just the practice. And I've forgiven so many for so much, but it seems like my ex has got this special place where my ego is really attached to making him wrong and bad and mean and all those things. So somehow it's like I've got this cone of silence around that because it just feels too something to go there, even though I've done lots of work on it, but still not resolved.
Can I jump in there?
Yeah.
Okay. How does it, and this is really helpful for everybody, how do you perceive that he hurt you?
Um, Yeah, I think sort of without going into oodles of detail, but more like intentional undermining
Okay.
and
Take a look.
intentional lack of engagement or
I'm
communication.
I'm going to interrupt you.
Yeah.
I'm interrupting you, so don't give the ego too much. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah. Good point.
If everything is energy matches, right? So this is him, my glasses are him, and this is you. So if there's an energy match and he's intentionally undermining me, then what must be in my energy field to be an energy match to that? To either allow that in or to be, because everything's just Lego pieces, right?
Yeah.
So do you want me to help you?
Yeah. Please.
So I'll give you a couple examples. It
Okay.
could be, well, I'm not worthy,
Yeah.
or I need validation, or I need
Yeah.
to prove my worth over you, or I need to be right. And so there's got to be some matching Lego piece. And what's happening, and I want you to see this, because I was in a different class just teaching the victim triangle for church self people. And I want you to see that it's easy to stay the victim of him doing whatever you said, undermining you. But then as soon as you become the victim, you become the bully, because you remember change hats whenever you want, right? So in the victim triangle, you can change hats every 2 seconds. Then you become the bully, that you're the jerk who keeps undermining me. Then you become the hero that, well, I'm gonna, do you see how that worked?
Yeah.
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 And ego doesn't want to let go of it because it's going to poke you into every one of those 3 corners.
Right.
Okay. You just got that. And then it keeps you being better because you're the hero, and I would never do that to anyone. So in yesterday's class, there was the in-person one. There was a woman who said, probably just a few years younger than you. She said, she's talking about a relationship that she's in, even though it was for single people. But since she signed up for the workshop, this guy showed up in her life. That's kind of what happens sometimes. Anyway, she's been with him before, and she was describing the reason she left him, the reason she came to the workshop, is because she feels like he undermines her with jokes, like, oh well, if you would just figure it out, they're meant to be funny jokes. Like he laughs as he says them, but she says they're not funny. I can't laugh. And what she finally got by the end of the workshop is anytime you have a defense wall up, you're not safe. And I think I taught that in the forgiveness work.
Mm-hmm.
So can you see that you have a defense wall up that's defining him as undermining? And that's where it's hard to break, because you've convinced yourself that that's true.
Right.
There. How does that feel?
Yeah.
So one of the first lessons in A Course in Miracles is about meaning. And you put so much meaning as to who and what he is.
Mm-hmm.
The more meaning I put, the more I stay in the victim triangle. If you think about it, if you put a 4-year-old or a 2-year-old there who doesn't know undermining from not undermining, to use your word, he's just having a conversation. And a lot of our spiritual work, if you talk to Holy Spirit would say to you, this is part of your journey to heal something in you, that you perceive him as undermining, that keeps you in that victim.
Right. Thank you. I believe that I have a good relationship with the Holy Spirit. I've cultivated it over a long period of time in my life, but I haven't really done so much in the operational moment by moment. So I think there's a lot of room for me to grow into that, to have that a more present part of my everyday, because what I'm finding, as I said in the beginning, is just flipping back to ego. So that's So I really have a clear path now of that, where I need to go with that. So thank you.
It is moment to moment. It's moment to moment, moment to moment to moment to moment.
Yeah.
And then asking myself, why do I insist on thinking that I have to be the hero? Why do I insist on taking on the powerless role? Why does my brain perceive it that way?
Right. Yeah.
Because I was taught that to protect myself and keep the upper hand.
Mm-hmm.
Be safe.
Right. Totally.
Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you.
Hey, PJ.
Hey,
How are you?
I'm good. I'm very grateful for these calls. It's very nice to check in here.
Amazing. It's great to have you.
Thank you. Yeah, so on the theme of the lie of lack, I recently have been getting some testing done on myself and on my son around autism, ADHD, etc. I've gone back and forth on whether to even embrace these labels and framings, of myself and my son. Um, I mean, going back to the first session we had together, Divi, one of the things that was coming through really strongly for you around me was that, like, my guides, or one or more of my guides, are adamant that I not frame myself as, having something wrong with me. Um, and that definitely resonated. Uh, However, I also get a lot of, I don't know, messages from the world all the time. It feels like that they're, that um, what's sort of like expected of people, work 9 to 5, do the
Right.
thing. I mean, I did this for many, many years, and it was just unsustainable for me to kind of carry out that template and that program.
Right.
So I have, I feel like I have a pretty deeply embedded belief, whether it's, true from the point of view of my spirit or not. It's a deeply embedded belief that, that I'm inadequate because I'm different, or whatever, or I'm unique, or, you know, so I guess I would like some guidance on, I'm living in this world. I need to get the resources I need and the resources my son needs. Um, and also I want to be moving forward with my gifts, not my, what I perceive to be, things that make me inadequate.
Inadequate. Perfect.
Yeah.
Should I jump in there? Okay. And I just
Yeah.
I think you're on your phone. I just retyped in the live lack so we can use it to help you. So live lack
Okay.
is the belief that one is deficient, deprived, or lacking in some way. That they're lacking something essential, which is considered to be a core illusion perpetuated by the ego, the part of the mind that operates from separation and from fear. The Course teaches us that the true reality is one of abundance, and that the perception of lack is simply false belief. Okay, so if we use that definition, and that tells us that as a person with potential autism and ADHD, that you're not lacking in any way, which I know you know on some level, but you don't completely believe.
Yeah.
And I think, if you could step out of the timeline of humanity, it's 2025, and look, up here from a helicopter and look down and go, oh yeah, this mass number of people with ADHD and autism are part of the up leveling of society, which I know
Yes,
at some level. I know you get
for
it.
sure.
And the only way we can be part of the mass up leveling is for me not to believe that I'm not enough.
Hmm. Exactly.
Right? That I'm part of having people see that driving into drive-through 3 times a day to sustain yourself and working 900 hours a day is not sustainable. But in fact, we are creative beings that connect to God. And look at these kids, they connect right away. Like there's no separation. And so if you can own that, and now that's part one. Part two,
Hmm.
using that knowing and teaching other kids and other adults that they're not deficient in any ways, but how to use their gift not to survive in this crazy society, but to thrive in this crazy society is the key.
Hmm.
But you have to take
Yeah,
that for yourself first. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, the framing that makes sense to me there is that really I mean, folks like myself are, we're here to build something new
Right.
for the world. But we're here at a moment in time where that transition is happening. And so we have to straddle these two worlds to some extent.
Yeah. And we straddle these worlds by not making our world wrong or that world wrong, but by owning that this is what I believe is the truth.
Yeah.
Again, if you think about it just for 20 seconds and just play with me. I sometimes think of the world as like a zillion Venn diagrams. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm in the healing realm. And if I go deeper into the healing realm, I'm the intuitive, metaphysical healing realm, right? But the healing realm is one. Then there's like the sports realm. Then there's the music realm. If I look at like, they keep showing me like Led Zeppelin, like Robert Plant, he believed he was the best guitarist or whatever he did and lyricist in the world, like the best. And good for him,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
He owned it and he didn't fight with society to say, hey, look at me, he didn't fight. It was just like, look, I'm a musician. Do you get it?
Hmm.
This is what I do. And if
Hmm.
each person, all the Vens of the world, stop making themselves to be the best, like not to say that wrong, stop making themselves to think that they're wrong and this world is wrong, then there's no hope. But you have something very positive to add, just like Robert Plant did. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Like, but he owned his music. Elvis owned his music. Does that resonate? And they didn't shy from their music, even if the world wasn't ready for it.
Well, in order to do that, they had to own their own shadow,
Yes, yes, yes,
right?
yes.
Which makes them immediately, uh, vulnerable in a way, you know, putting themselves out there with their shadow included, like, and that's what I feel I'm working on, you know, all the time right now is that, on the other side of the things that I, expect myself to do, there's some kind of hero complex going on, um, where, I'm bullying myself into doing, all these different things that I have perceived as being survival, required for my survival.
Right.
Um, but I actually have a massive ego, underneath all of this, that I think I can just do everything on my own.
Right.
Um, and that's, I understand that that's part of, you know, just how things played out for me in terms of becoming estranged from my family and stuff, where I really did feel alone. But, I will perpetuate that condition of being alone if I don't, release the hero complex, the massive ego that I have around being so self-sufficient, I suppose.
Yeah. That's so beautiful. You see that. That's exactly it. And just to go back a sec, I think they showed me somebody like Robert Plant, because if we look at the history of music, bands like Robert Plant, The Who, they were, and I know you know this, they were big in terms of revolutionizing music. Elvis, like, you know what I mean? And they were leaders of their time.
Yeah.
PJ, you're a leader of their time. Like you said, they have to, I love how you said they have to
Yeah.
own shadows. And what I keep hearing to say to you is you're not lacking in any way. You are not deficient in any ways. You are a leader for the masses. And on some level, you know that. And having gratitude for your gifts, gratitude for your talents is a big part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've viewed those gifts as being dangerous for me. Um, and I feel like yeah, I need to heal my relationship with those gifts. Um, because I do, yeah, I do, they, they represent the sort of the growth that I want so much, but is so frightening, really. Because it makes me stick out. I mean, a leader for the masses, I don't know if I can relate to that. That feels um, that feels big, and it's hard for me to absorb.
And you don't have to, but it really, I like what Lonnie wrote you in a thing in the chat box, but it's really understanding that you're as powerful as you choose to believe you are. It's
Yeah,
like everything is a choice of a thought.
yeah. Or another way to put it is, that I can choose to minimize my power if I want to. That's my choice to do.
I love how you just said that. That's exactly, I love how you said that. I can choose to minimize my power if I want to. And this one thought is minimizing my power. And
Yeah.
thought up because it's a lie.
So can I ask a follow-up question here, or are we at
No,
time?
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay, so from a operational point of view, I have, after having done some testing and gotten some diagnoses for myself and my son as well, in the immediate term, I have a choice to whether to like submit this paperwork for myself, at least to the government, for like, it's a tax credit, etc.
Yeah.
And the stuff that is in this report make it really, I hesitate to put it out into the universe,
Right.
because it's really framed in such a pathological way.
Yeah.
And I just wonder if you can give me any of your gut feeling on this around, is there a negative consequence potentially to me, putting this stuff on file for myself, even if, I mean, in the immediate term, it will likely help quite a bit with finances.
Mhm.
But in the long term, I wonder if it is a detrimental thing.
Right. It's a great question. Honestly, what they're saying is only if you believe it.
Oh,
That's
interesting.
that's the nutshell. And I was just teaching this in the other class, and Lilani was and Tina were in it. I was talking about how we have a medical system, and any social system in the world, and depending on the country you live in, you're in Canada like I am, and the system is set up that like, and I know you know this, but if somebody can't work, then the government pays. But when I used to work as a doctor, that then the client would stay in the victim role, but then eventually gets angry, and so they have to go into the bully role. So then they get, and how many patients do I know that would end up on social assistance, and then they get angry because the government doesn't pay me enough money, and I'm sure,
Uh-huh.
right? So it's fine to submit it, but as long as you don't believe a word on it, take the benefit and run.
Yeah.
Do you get it?
Yeah.
It's more the feedback that you believe it that causes the pain.
Well, and here's the concrete differentiator for me, which is I know that this report is relative to a very specific kind of consciousness observing me and a system, right?
Yeah.
And my choice in doing all this self work, it has been to navigate my consciousness to like somewhere else,
Right.
that is not, um, that is much more intentional and compassionate and acknowledging of who I am.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, having lived in that oppressive consciousness for a long time, I'm okay with accepting, abundance from whatever, the remnants are of it in my life as I go somewhere else.
Exactly. How does that feel for you in your body?
It feels good.
Yeah. For a very,
Yeah,
yeah.
it feels like here's the fuel you need to propel yourself to where you want to go.
100%. The key is as long as I don't believe it.
Yeah.
Resonate.
Well, that's my daily work right there. Yeah.
Because I know the truth of me is infinitely capable and successful, and that's what I want to believe.
Yeah, I don't wake up in that feeling every day.
Okay.
So maybe accepting this kind of designation is going to is going to make it more important that I lean into this self-work, which I know that I'm doing anyway.
You are doing it. So it's not like you're not.
Yeah.
How's that sitting?
Good. Thank you.
Thanks, PJ. I love it. Rachel, I've got about 3 or 4 minutes. Does that give us, I think it should give us, my gut is it should give us enough time.
Okay, so My daughter is actually sitting here with me today watching this one. And actually, the question is coming from her, if you're okay with this.
Totally fine with it. Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead, sis.
So my question is, why do I have a hard time letting my wall down and opening up to accepting things?
Great question. How old are you?
I'm 13.
And what's your first name?
Brielle.
How do you spell it?
Brielle.
Cool. So what kind of things do you want to open yourself up to?
I want to open myself up to accepting things more, like accepting my mom's decisions and accepting my decisions.
Can you give me an example? What kind of things, Brielle, do you have difficulty accepting?
I want to accept more so my decisions of supporting like people more.
What do you mean? Like, give me an example.
Like an example. Like, what are you trying to say? Like, you want to support people more in what they do in their life?
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to be more of a supportive person and accepting who they are or how they do things.
Yeah.
And you feel like you have a wall up to that? Did I get that right, Brielle?
Yeah, I just have like a hard time opening up as like myself.
To be honest, Brielle, the first thing I keep hearing is give yourself a break. You're 13. Okay? Give yourself a break. Are you okay with that before I keep going?
Yeah.
You're in probably, and I would never say the toughest, but you're in a tough age because right now your hormones are kicking in. Do you know what I mean? And so typically what happens at 13, and all of us old people can laugh because we know this, it's like it's a tough age, one of the tougher ages, because a lot of like my self-esteem, my self-development, who I am gets placed on things like looks, body size, like all these dumb things, right? And so you're in a time in your life, usually from 13 till God knows when, where your hormones are kicking in, but also like there's a lot of focus on everything else that's important. See, when you're younger than 13, usually when you're 8 or 9 or 10, it's not nearly running the show, but you're in this phase of developing into who you are. Does that make any sense in your brain before I keep going?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And your guides keep telling me to tell you not to push it. This is going to unravel for you the next few years. But there's nothing wrong with you, but you're in this development phase right now. So be gentle with yourself. And if I taught this workshop yesterday, and there were some old people there, and they all had walls up to each other. So the fact that you're even asking this question is massive. It's massive. And I think all of us want to applaud you, because even to say, I want to take my wall down is massive. So if you, like, I had 60-year-olds standing up and talking to other people and having a wall up. So the fact that at 13 you're asking that tells me that by the time you're 15, 16, 18, you'll be more willing to take the wall down. Does that make even any sense to your brain?
Yeah.
Okay. And all your guides keep telling is tell her not to rush it, give it some time. And with time, you'll find that even the fact that you don't want it will make it easier once you're a little bit older. So what I want you to know, it's not going to take you till you're 20, but right now your brain's developing, but somewhere in your early 20s, a part of your brain develops on top of the frontal lobe that can determine, it's called consciousness. Like, I'll give you a funny example. My son was in a pissy mood this morning because it's a ferry ride and whatever, stuff that he did, right? And he called, after the whole ferry ride worked out, he called me and said, I'm sorry. He never would have done that when he was 15 or 18. It's because part of his brain is developing and taking responsibility. Does that make sense? And when you hit your early 20s, that's what's going to start to develop in you. So then you can actually start to take responsibility of, oh, I have a wall up. Now I can drop it. Does that make sense to your brain?
Yeah.
Yeah. So honestly, what your guides keep telling me to tell you is don't worry about it. The fact that you're even asking that question tells me that when you're a little bit older, it won't be there. And give yourself a break, because when those hormones are kicking in right now, it's part of a protective mechanism of growth. So it's nothing wrong. Land?
All right. Good. Yeah. Thank you.
You're so welcome. And thank you, Rachel, for having your daughter on. It's so fun to talk to her.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Amazing. Let's do a closing meditation. Close your eyes for a sec. Take a breath. Remembering the lie of lack, I'll just redefine it again. With your eyes closed, it's the belief that you are deficient or deprived or lacking in some essential way. And this illusion has perpetuated your ego, and it's kept you separate. And the truth is, you are abundance, and joy and love. I'm sending you guys so much love. Having the most beautiful day ever. I'm sending you guys so much love, and we'll see you guys next week. Have fun. Take care, guys.